Former Navy SEAL and podcaster Shawn Ryan revealed a story of when he thought that he was literally losing his mind. He'd already lost one of his friends to a heroin overdose, and just recently another one of his friends died. So he was stricken with grief, and then he was carrying the weight of the podcast and everything on his shoulders. He was literally ready to give up. But then, on a vacation to Sedona, Arizona, he had a series of strange supernatural encounters in a small 15-minute window that changed his life forever, because he thought to himself, there's no way this could be a coincidence. Maybe God is trying to get my attention. And so I'm making this video to maybe encourage you, to maybe help you in your grief, maybe in your struggle, because this video itself could be a sign. This story is real, it's raw, and it's powerful. And I went ahead and I cut it down and I sped it up a little bit so we could watch it in a shorter window of time, because I believe God is calling you, and I hope this is an encouragement. So hit the like button, help me get this out to more people, and leave me a comment. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Let's check it out.
And I broke down on the plane. I'm not a guy that breaks down. I broke down.
Cannot imagine that.
In tears. And she's like, what the hell is wrong with you? And and I was just angry the whole trip. Very last day, I stayed off social media the whole trip. It's the last day. I'm like, well, let's see what's going on. And I have to be on there for my business. I see something that really me off. And I'm like, we got to go on a hike. So we go on a hike, go up to this energy vortex, don't feel shit. And on the way back down, I had this internal battle going on in my head. That's like, I felt like nobody else cared, and I felt like I was the only one talking about this stuff. And I was trying to basically convince myself, like, Shawn, why do you let this affect you so much? Like, this isn't, just give in. Maybe you're the up one. Maybe kids should be able to change their gender at 6 years old. And quit letting this stuff bother you. It's painfully obvious that the majority, and this is all in my head, right? But the majority of the population is for this, and it seems like America wants this to happen. And everywhere I look, they're talking about this, and they're complaining about the party that doesn't want it to happen. And so anyways, it's just something that really weighed on me, and I felt like I was surrendering my soul to the devil or something.
Have you ever been there? Getting weighed down so much by burdens in your thoughts, feeling like you're alone and no one cares. The Bible says in 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 7, cast all your anxieties on God because he cares for you. I'm telling you, you can't carry this alone. You literally cannot do it. You weren't made for it. Jesus said in Matthew chapter 11, verse 28, come to me, all who are weary and heavy burden, and I will give you rest for your souls. And that's exactly what actually begins to happen in Shawn Ryan's life. So let's keep watching and be encouraged.
And we're in this. They had an armed guard at the gate, and I pay attention to security just because of my background. And a lot of the security guards there knew who I was because of the podcast, and they would always come up and say hi and want to chat. And I'd been there for a whole week, and I walked by, and there's this old guy who I'd never seen there before, ever.
Very weird. Very weird.
He stops me and he wants to talk, and I just told you the state of mind I'm in. I'm not in the mood. I'm like looking at him over my shoulder, telling him, hey, I don't want to talk right now. I'm not in the mood. I just want to go to my bungalow and call it a night. And so he snags my wife, and she's with me, and he starts talking to her, and I'm like,
great.
Turn around, and I look at him, and I square up, and he looks at me right in the eyes, and he read my mind from front to back. And every thought that I was having on that hike, never met this guy, never seen him. Like I said, I'd been there for a week. I thought I'd met everybody. And he's like, hey, all this gender stuff that you're worried about, that's not your fight. And you don't need to worry about that. And all this stuff that you're worried about with China, that's not your fight either. And I'm like, after he said that,
you're like
it freaked me out, because I'm like,
so this guy just said this
guy's
to you.
in my head. He's in my head. And he went on. No, I didn't say a word. I just turned and looked at him like, all right, I guess we're going to have a conversation, kind of being a and that's what he opened up his conversation with, was reading my mind.
Who was this person?
Exactly. We go into my bungalow, and we were just talking about Gabe, and I could go on for an hour about this, but Gabe has always been around.
So this is a side story about his friend Gabe that I don't want to spoil it, but this is also very strange and sad what happened. But Psalm 139 verse 2 says, you know when I sit and when I arise, you perceive my thoughts from afar. So God was using this person to get Shawn's attention. He didn't believe in God, didn't believe in the supernatural, but God was using this man to get his attention, to ultimately draw him to Christ. But watch this, it gets even more strange.
I just feel his presence a lot, and I know he's around because little rabbit hole. Right before Gabe died, he had started this. He wanted to start this Wounded Warriors Hockey League, and he told me he was going to have the Florida Panthers sponsor it. And I also told you Gabe was a heroin addict at the time, and I'm like,
How are you going to do
you better
that?
clean it up if you're going to
Yeah.
pull that one off, buddy,
Yeah.
because you look like. Well, I'll be. He gets it done, and the Panthers sponsor his Wounded Warrior team. In fact, when they went to deliver him the good news and to knock on the door to tell him they were going to sponsor his team, the NHL was going to sponsor the first ever Wounded Warriors hockey team. When they knocked on the door to tell him, that's when they found him dead from a heroin overdose. So the team gave me one of the original jerseys, and
So
it has
sad.
Gabe's name on it, SEAL Team 10 logo, and Panthers win
So
the Stanley Cup, and that jersey's hanging down there in the front doorway. And I come in, and the day the Panthers won the Stanley Cup, that frame has been sitting there for 3 years, hasn't moved. Falls off the wall, probably weighs about 35, 40 pounds. Not a scratch on it, no broken glass, nothing.
Wow.
I told you I was in this vulnerable state, and we saw this guy that looked exactly like my friend Gabe. Like, same build, same brow line, same jawline. Like, if you put them side by side, they would be identical twins. But I could tell, obviously that it wasn't Gabe, but I was like, that's like, it's legitimately like an identical twin with some minute differences. And throughout the trip, this guy's everywhere with me. If we go to the pool, this guy happens to be at the pool. If we're going out on a hike, he's coming down the same trail going the opposite direction.
Talk to this guy?
No. If we go out in town and leave the resort for dinner, the guy winds up being at the same restaurant. And my wife, Katie's like, there he is, there he is, there he is, there he is. So sure as walk back from the gate. Like I said, this is like a 2-minute walk. It's like a duplex, like a bungalow that's a duplex. Didn't know who was staying on the other side this entire time. Walk up there, and there's this guy that looks identical to Gabe. And he's the guy staying in the other half of the bungalow with his family. And I'm like, holy like, okay, that's weird. And, but he had just died days before. Go into the room.
Yeah, watch this. This is the last part of it that really confirms everything that was going on, these series of coincidences.
And I'm telling my wife, I can't believe this has happened to me. Like, what the hell is going on? I can't believe this. And she's like, quit saying you can't believe it. Like, it's
happening.
falling in your lap right now. Like, he's slapping you in the face. And my phone dings. Don't answer it because I'm in the middle of this discussion with my wife. And so we get done with that discussion. I'm kind of cleaning myself up. It's pretty emotional. And I pick up my phone, and it's his daughter, who I'd not met. Doesn't have my number. Wasn't close with his family. I'd met his son a couple of times. I'd met his wife. I'd not met his daughter. And his daughter sends me this text. And she says, I'll summarize it. It says, hey, I just walked into my dad's gun room for the first time since he had passed. And basically says that her dad talked to her and said, I want you to talk to Shawn because Shawn knows a side of me that nobody else knows. And Shawn was becoming my best friend really fast. And he just wanted her to tell me that he loves me for who I am. Now, this shit all happens within 5-10 minutes.
Yeah,
And so that to me was that was it. I was like, okay, you've got my attention. So anyway, then I came home and made a bunch of calls to people that I know that are in this. My first call was this guy, Eddie Penny, who had talked about his journey to Christ. Eddie Penny was a SEAL Team 6 guy and had another really rough go and then found Christ. And I released his episode on Christmas of 2022, maybe. And ever since then, just about every single person on the show has brought up God in some way, shape, or form. And I didn't put that together really until this. And I went back through and I was like, every single one of them. And so I called Eddie. Anyways, and that's what led me to believing in God.
Now, strange coincidences, but I will say this. Now, I have to be objective. I mean, I'm not here like trying to read into this too much, but I want to hear Jesus' name. I would ask people, what God are we talking about? Because I don't believe that man's daughter was actually hearing from her dad. You know, the demons can speak, the demons can impersonate. You got to be very careful. Just being honest with you. Okay, get into your word, read the Bible, because the devil can disguise himself. It literally says he disguises himself as an angel of light. I do believe that, if you look at demon possessions of the past, demons can have outside knowledge. They can have knowledge about your past, knowledge about things that you've done, things that you've said, things about your family, and they can speak to you as if they're reading your mind. And it's counterfeit, false signs. These are from the demonic. Now, I'm not saying that happened with Shawn, right? God could be using these signs to get his attention. But right here in this video, I'm telling you that the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ is trying to get your attention for sure. He's calling out to you. He's always drawing you closer to him. Jesus said, no one can come to me unless my Father who sent me draws them. And so if you do not have a relationship with the Lord, if you've been wondering if God exists or if he even cares for you, this is your sign. He does care for you. He's calling you into a relationship with him by his Spirit. Why? Because he loves you. Because he gave his life for you. Because Jesus came and experienced everything in this world just like us. But see, the difference between us and Jesus is he can carry those burdens. He can shoulder those burdens that we were not meant to carry. And he says, again, come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest for your souls. It's all in here. He changed my life. I started reading this word for myself, and I always encourage you, read this word. Read the Gospel of John. Read Ephesians, right? Read any of the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, or even Luke. Read about what Jesus said and what he did, and you'll realize what it means for your life today. You can chase this world. You can try to take a drug. You can try to go on a vacation to help you with your pain and your grief, but all that really does is leaves you more empty. But let Jesus come in and fill that hole in your life, for he loves you and he'll pour his life and his glory upon you forever. So let me know what you think in the comments, my friends. I'm very curious to hear what you have to say. I do believe that Shawn Ryan is being called by God, just like all of us. Don't judge him for his cursing. I for some reason, when I was watching this, I'll bleep these out, but I could kind of hear some of my Christian brothers and sisters wanting to click off or maybe getting irritated because he's cursing. We got to remember we're all on a journey, right? God is always leading us and chipping away. Maybe at certain things over time. We're not perfect, but just pray for Shawn. Pray for his podcast. He is shouldering a lot, and let's just, pray that God would move upon his life in greater ways. And I'm praying the same for you. So thanks again for being here. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet. I'd love to continue this journey with you, and we'll see you next time. Truth be told.